Hello lovelies, my name is Eric and welcome to episode 1 of Cardcaptor Cavalcade. We are going to start by ignoring how long it's been since my last upload, and today I'm going to start a series of videos and I'm going to be talking about my experiences with the Clow cards, and also with Esrune Emerson's Clow Grimoire. So for those who are maybe not familiar, the Clow is a deck of cards that was created as part of Clamp's manga and anime franchise, Cardcaptor Sakura. So in short, our protagonist Sakura is an elementary school student, and she is tasked with sealing the 52 Clow spirits into cards that she then uses for divination and for sorcery. So the story of Sakura's initiation into the system, the imagery of the magic circle and the cards, I didn't really realize it at the time, but all of this was kind of instrumental in preparing me for my future entry into tarot and ceremonial magic. And when I sort of read my first Wicca book, and it told me that I needed to imagine a magic circle around myself, I already had like a really strong imago to do that with. So it's sort of been more influential on me, I think, than I sort of might realize. I also just, like, generally adore the series. Like, it's really heartwarming and cute, and it's full of adorable queer romance, which you all know I'm here for. The first time that I watched it, we were recording the English dub on television, and my older sister, when I say we, that's what I mean, my older sister and I would watch them on television, and we would record them on videotape, and every afternoon we would come home from school and we would take the jumpy videotape and she would try to, like, redraw the card from that day. I also remember at the time I got my grandfather to make me, like, a sealing wand with, like, the bird head out of wood, which was awesome. But I think it was probably 2001 when I found this set in a toy store. I remember, actually, really clearly, my sister and I went there with my birth father, because my sister wanted rollerblades, so we were gonna get rollerblades. But I saw the Clow cards, and I was like, rollerblades, are you kidding? And I remember my sister, like, justifying it to my dad, and, like, trying to say, like, oh, they're not just for girls, and we tried to make a set out of paper slips, and I wasn't gonna get bored with them. Here I am, like, 20 years later, and I'm still not bored with them. And we managed to somehow, despite his reluctance, walk out of that store with Clow cards, so props to my sister, I suppose, for always having my back. I've gotten, like, a few other sets since then, but those cards, like, I loved them so much. I used to carry a few with me as, like, paper charms, and I would have the shield for protection, or the fiery in case someone wanted to mess with me. It's cute. It's like the sense that I was playing at being a sorcerer. I was playing with the cards. I was pretending, but I also knew if I could just figure out how, I could totally get them to actually work. And as many of you will know, I grew up with a mother who was a spiritualist, and she always had, like, tarot and oracle cards around. So when I started practicing witchcraft in high school, it sort of made sense to me to pick up the Clow cards again, to use them in cartomancy and fortune-telling. I actually would carry the cards around with me at high school and do readings for people during our lunch breaks. When I joined my first coven, though, I started to really explore tarot at that point and sort of put down the Clow cards for a time as I delved, like, more and more deeply into the tarot and into that system. It wasn't until, I think, 2015 that I really began to explore, like, pop culture magic, and that encouraged me to, like, dust off my old deck and sort of think about their application in sorcery with a bit more nuance and a bit more knowledge of the machinations of how magic works. I remember I watched through the series, I read the manga, and I took, like, all these notes about the system, you know, and sort of exploring the Western ceremonial influence and the Taoist influence, and I started to talk to, like, other people who had sort of done the same thing, and most of them were working with S. Rune Emerson's Clow Grimoire, which I love. I think I've talked about it on the channel before when I reviewed Rune's book Nothing But a Pack of Cards, which I also highly recommend if you're more into the tarot side of things than the pop culture side of things. But I connected with Rune and I got a copy of the grimoire they'd written. I made a small donation to them and they sent me the PDF. But it would take another 6 years before I would actually do anything with it. There's 52 cards, and like that seems like a bit of a big commitment, so it took me a while to actually start, and of course, before I could begin the work, I needed to, acquire all of the regalia for the system, all of the magical tools. One of the things I really love about this system is the simplicity of the tools. Like, the kit is a really, like, no-nonsense and flexible collection of magical artifacts. It's very accessible to get into. The main tools are the wand and the cards themselves. For my wand, I'm using a fan at the moment, just until I can sort of, like, settle on a wand design. And the cloud cards that I'm using for the system are a set created by an artist named Daniel. There are some other tools as well, like a personal grimoire to record your experiences. There is the mirror charm, the lamp of four lights, the physical representation of your solar guardian. Some of these tools are explored in Nothing But a Pack of Cards as well. I also added my moon blocks to my kit. And they have been an awesome method for getting, like, yes-no answers from the spirits as I'm working with them. So these aren't expensive items to source, and, like, the flexibility of this system, you could really be as, like, ostentatious as you want, or as modest as you want. Like, it's so, like, dictated by your personal style, which I love. Ultimately, though, it's sort of the spirits that are at the heart of this system. And when you awaken the cards, you wake them to test you. So as you progress through the deck, you're challenged by each card and have to overcome their quest in order to seal the card and get the spirit to serve you, and then you can move on to the next card. This process of creating these videos is actually a quest for one of my cards, but I will talk about that when it comes up. So to help you in the process of, collecting the cards, the first card that you turn over becomes your servant, and it's sort of loyal to you from the beginning. And I will talk more about my servant in my next Cardcaptor Cavalcade video, when I talk about the first card that I capture as well. Rune's Grimoire, though, and the system, like everything Rune writes is amazing and it's beautifully written. But the system's also really well put together, and I think what I love about it most is it would be wonderful for a beginner, because it gives you this system for spirit magic, not only for working with the card spirits, but also for spirits outside of the system. It's like this fun, beautiful way to begin to explore that kind of magic if you've never done evocation before. But its application, like, isn't just a beginner level, but because of the nature of the tests and the individual nature of the tests, it's good for anybody who sort of wants to better themselves or better their, like, sorceress art. I think, though, I'm probably going to end it here for today. I will leave a link to Rune's Tumblr post in the description if you want to have a read about the grimoire and get in contact with them. I will also leave a link to Daniel's cloud deck that I'm using if you want to check that out. But until I speak to you next time, we will explore the lock and the light. So subscribe, and I will see you all very soon. Mwah! Bye!